A number of people have taken to social media to complain that they're being charged for blood tests that they claim were once covered by OHIP. But City News has found no truth to it. It was viral tweets like this one that started the frenzy. It reads, quote, Ontario, if you haven't had blood work done lately or screening tests, you're in for quite a shock. $86 dropped at Life Labs today thanks to Ford Nation taking cancer screening blood work off the list of OHIP-covered tests. But City News has been unable to corroborate this. In fact, both Ontario's Ministry of Health and the privately held Life Labs issued us statements saying there have been no changes to blood tests covered under OHIP. I've also reached out to a number of people who say they've been billed, but in all the cases, the tests weren't covered under OHIP and haven't been for quite some time.
I met somebody yesterday, in fact, who told me that they had to pay $80 to get their cancer screening blood test done.
The NDP leader was passing off second-hand claims at a campaign stop in Ottawa, but couldn't back them up.
We have not been able to substantiate these claims, yet here you are repeating them. Do you think that's responsible?
I'm repeating something that someone told me directly, and that's what I'm doing.
The Ontario Health Coalition tells me it's found no evidence of medically necessary blood work or other tests being delisted recently in Ontario.
I think what happened was some patients were tweeting about lab tests, about charges for lab tests that they didn't expect or they thought were new. And, you know, all kinds of people, thousands piled on with their stories of lab tests that they're being charged for. But when you actually investigate, they're not new charges. They're either things that have never been covered or they're really not considered medically necessary, so they're not covered.
And a company that deals in medical billing agrees.
I just know that there's been nothing formal released publicly anyway that we would have access to that says there's been any changes along those lines to the schedule of benefits, what's covered, etc.
And remember that viral tweet that got the ball rolling? The woman who wrote it now tells me she, quote, copied it from someone else's paragraph and passed it on in edited form. Now, the Ministry of Health says that if you feel you have been charged for an OHIP-covered service, that you should call their tip line. That number and more information on this story can be found on our website, toronto.citynews.ca, or you can open up your smartphone and point the camera at that QR code that's at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.